Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde. What a day it has been today. Hours of anticipation, jitters, excitement and a final touchdown. A moment that's etched in history, a moment that's etched in the hearts of a billion Indians. Goosebumps felt and a sense of pride running through our veins tonight. India's space journey started with a vision in the 1960s. Vikram Sarabhai, a staunch advocate of India's space endeavours, had back then said that we do not have the fantasy of competing with the economically advanced nations in the exploration of the moon or any other planets. But we are convinced that we can be second to none if we want to play a meaningful role as far as advanced technology goes. That dream has been realised today, and what a day it has been. Today, India has truly accomplished what no other country has. We've landed on the side of the moon where no other country has before. India scripting history tonight. Let's look at what has exactly happened in the last few hours. The anticipation that built up for over 40 days with Chandrayaan-3. India is now the first ever country to land on the lunar surface on the south side, which is also called the dark side. It is the fourth nation to land a soft land on the lunar surface after United States, China and Russia. A billion Indians are saluting the spirit, the hard work and the commitment and dedication of the scientists at ISRO who've made this possible. Remember, India was also the first country to discover that there was frozen water deposits on the lunar surface. We did so with the first mission of Chandrayaan, with the third mission of Chandrayaan. Yet again, history has been scripted by your own country.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Liftoff normal.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LVM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft.
We are nearing the final phase of the power descent, approaching the moon surface.
हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं.
What an incredible moment this is for ISRO, for India's space scientists, and for all of us here at CNN News 18. Unbelievable scenes, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
जब हम अपनी आंखों के सामने ऐसा इतिहास बनते हुए देखते हैं, जीवन धन्य हो जाता है. ये क्षण जीत के चंद्र पथ पर चलने का
It's a new India. It's the dawn of India's space odyssey. A new chapter begins and it's only upwards and onwards for India and for ISRO. We've seen Vikram the lander land on the lunar surface. The first image that we accessed for you here on CNN News 18. An image that no one has seen before. An image of the lunar surface from the south side of the lunar surface as captured by the lander Vikram that we got for you here on CNN News 18. That is the image of the moon that hasn't been seen in ever in history. The first time ever that we see this image is right on your screens here. This is what the south side of the moon looks like. Now that Vikram has put its foot down on the lunar surface, what happens next? Let's take you across with that. We are going to be seeing the rover, which is Pragyan, eventually roll off. It's a matter of a few hours, could take up to a day as well, is what the ISRO chairman told us just a short while ago. But what happens next? What happens once the rover is actually out? Let's take a look at that. Now, one side panel of the lander is now going to unfold once that lunar dust settles. It's going to create a ramp for the rover, which is called Pragyan. That ramp is then going to wheel out this six-wheeled Pragyan and it will descend onto the lunar surface. Pragyan is going to be moving at the speed of 1 centimeter per second. It will scan the moon's lunar surface. It is going to take in all the data that it can. There are cameras that are attached to Pragyan as well as to Vikram. There's going to be leaving imprints of the national emblem and of the logo of ISRO. So India is in its true sense making its mark on the lunar surface. The rover is then going to be communicating with the lander. So Pragyan then communicates with Vikram. The rover is going to be providing this data to the lander, images that are going to be sent, samples that would be then used to analyze what exactly lies on the dark side of the moon. The lander is going to be sending that information back to the Earth then, and that is when the real test of what's to come is what we're looking at. This is a new chapter, like I said, in India's space odyssey. The intent is to lead the space race. What it means is that India, with this win, with this victory, has cemented its position amongst spacefaring nations. The intent is also to collaborate and with several other countries. Remember, it is an elite club that India is now a part of, but there is a long way to go for ISRO still, and we're looking forward to that as well. It's not just over yet. What that means is that there is potential for enhanced global partnerships with many other countries in the world, and this space race could really become a healthy competition, a friendly fight between all the countries, with India taking the lead. Boosting morale of our scientists is also important. To build inspiration is also key. It fuels passion, is the most kids, the youths, the next generation, all of whom are going to be looking at what happens next, are going to have interest in what the country has to showcase further. The road ahead is also of how India further develops, or how ISRO further develops its space technology. The world is also going to be watching at that. The private sector could be looking at making an entry. Startups would want to have a say in them as well. Scientific research is another big deal, which is why this mission is not just about what lies on the lunar surface. It's much, much more. It's not just a win for India or for ISRO. It's a win for all of humanity, for all of mankind, is also what many scientists believe. The implication of all of this particular mission, is that there is going to be an enhanced understanding of the lunar surface, which could only help us in future explorations, not just of the moon, but several other space explorations, like the next one of that of Gaganyaan as well. The intent is also to learn and ensure that we put this into application. Now, Chandrayaan-2's near success is what ensured that this time around we got it right, we landed. It wasn't a failure, it was a near success. That is where we learned from, which is why we're here today, is also what ISRO told us this evening, right after that successful victory. So what does this mean for India? What does this mean for the world? We are going to be opening this up to our panelists here on this broadcast. Malika Sarabhai, daughter of Vikram Sarabhai and Padma Bhushan awardee, joins us on this broadcast here. Professor Y.S. Rajan, Honorary Distinguished Professor at the ISRO and a Padma Shri awardee, also with us on this broadcast. Dr. Venkateshwara Sharma, the former Deputy Director of ISRO as well. Dr. Kesan, the founder and CEO of Space Kids India. And Gohar Raza, scientist, joins us on this broadcast. But I would like to begin by asking Ms. Sarabhai, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. One of the many dreams that your father saw, one of the many visions that he had, today stands realized. How do you feel?
I feel thankful. I feel especially thankful to the 50 years worth of ISRO scientists who have kept Papa's dream alive and who have brought us here today. I feel somewhat concerned that this can become a race to prove how great we are. That's not what this is about.
Yes.
This has to be about how we can empower humanity, how we can use science to take away some of the many, many, many ills that divide our world, that completely destroy our world today. And that if we are to find out what is on the moon, or if we are to find out what is on Venus or Mars, that it is to be used for making lives easier, better, more dignified in this world. And I fear that we live in such a jingoistic world that it can easily become about we are the best, we are the biggest, we are the greatest. And I only pray that that is not so.
We really do hope that is not the case, but celebrations, of course, taking place here in India. Even those who perhaps know very little or absolutely have no knowledge of how this actually works are partaking in this historic moment, because that's really what this is about. But Ms. Sarabhai, I also want to ask you, at the beginning of the show, I read out one of the quotes from Vikram Sarabhai, and he said that if we want to make a meaningful change and if we want to talk about the humanity, then we must make sure and we have to be confident that we're second to none when it comes to application of advanced technology. Today, the journey that ISRO has taken from the 1960s to now, the kind of advancement that ISRO has done, the kind of technological prowess that ISRO has shown, this is exactly what Vikram Sarabhai was talking about, isn't it?
Indeed, and as I said, I think we have to applaud the fact that so many thousands of ISRO scientists have not only understood Papa's vision, but have kept faith with it and have worked for 50 years. That's a long time to keep any vision alive, to keep any faith alive. And I salute them, and I say to you that had Papa been here, he would have been thumping the shoulder of each and every one of you. And yes, this is the victory of the human spirit, and we must see it as that.
Absolutely, and this is not just about ISRO and about India as well, because this is about the greater implication that it's going to have, isn't it? Let's not talk about this as being a space race, perhaps a friendly fight or so where we want to take everyone together. Yes, healthy competition is always good, but this is also giving inspiration to many other countries who perhaps always thought that space was out of their means. Financially, it is something that they couldn't do. But ISRO has proven that wrong as well, isn't it, Ms. Sarabhai?
Yes, indeed. I remember the original chicken mesh satellite dishes that Papa used to do, and an interview he did with a French journalist saying why he wanted indigenous technology always, because he wanted self-reliance. And I think that is a mantra that all countries must take, not to depend on others, but to depend and to grow and to nurture indigenous talent, indigenous science, indigenous cultural aspects and everything. To depend on oneself.
Absolutely, that dream has been realized. It is something that is epitomized by every single scientist, every single person who works at the organization, at the Indian Space Research Organization, and everybody else who has faith in those scientists that have been putting their hard work there. Ms. Sarabhai, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Our other panelists continue to be with us, and I would like to get in Professor Rajan now in. So thank you so much for coming on the show and taking out the time to share your perspective. We've seen the kind of journey that ISRO has had. We've been talking about it. Ms. Sarabhai also was pointing that out. Where next for ISRO? Where are we going to be seeing ISRO take the next big leap?
See, I was fortunate to be with Vikram Sarabhai. My age of 20, I joined Physical Research Laboratory, 1964. So I have just seen him face to face for about 7 years till he passed away. We had several things lined up for space. Everything cannot be achieved at a time. That is why he initially concentrated on the few applications. On that, we have done very well. And fortunately, now they are all going to be farmed out to many industries so that multiple times they can do, whether it is in remote sensing, resource survey, forest survey, communication, TV, and variety of them. This is on one side of it. It's not only, you should not purely looking for only leaps. So we are going to have a Gaganyaan now. But there are many chained links. They are all linked together. So there are things like bigger applications. We may have a lot of small satellites done, which will be for going from 4G to 5G, even more.
Yes.
Because those things is not only for the 5G, it can serve lot of unconnected areas. That is possible when we do nearby, because I don't want to get into all the technical details, but all the technologies exist. So that is on one side. On other side is a lot of newer technologies would need to be introduced.
Yes.
And then we want to go much bigger sizes. Launch vehicles have to be improved further. So things are not, these are all laid up for ISRO. It is not that they are not talking about everything, because there are many things which they will plan. For example, even this Chandrayaan, they would have done for decades. Before they started, I will start doing it. There is a little bit of a design, little bit of this, and there is also multiple cooperations with our industries, and probably now, because things have become big size, international cooperation, ISRO started with international cooperation, but you can't continue only on a receiving side. You have to contribute too. So, such missions indicate that we are equal. In fact, he has used certain words, Sarabhai. Many think that he has talked only these applications and all. He says we have to be stand proud among the Committee of Nations. There are some things which he has spoken.
Yes.
With many convocation addresses and all. So, that one, it was followed by Professor Dhawan, and the subsequent one, the base has been set up. And what is most important thing to be noticed from ISRO is that the cohesive organization. There will be a lot of conflicts and competitions even within themselves. But this thing which has come in has kept it up for so long, and they are able to do new.
Yes.
With the shedding routine operational work to industries is one great step. Now they will be able to explore sciences, solar immediately, and Aditya is there.
Yes.
But we can't be doing only sciences. There will be newer applications which can come, lower these things. And also, space has become an important thing for strategic sector, for our own defense, security, and all that thing.
Yes.
So all over the world, we can't just say that we are not doing it. So those type of things for protecting us, these are the type of things ahead. And there are so many items with them. Some will look like a very visible big leap. Some of them will be steady state leap, which people don't realize. For example, 1977, before space applications came, meteorological geosynchronous satellite came. That is one of the, weather was one of the things of the original 4. You know what is the deaths in cyclone, Andhra cyclone? Was 10,000 people. Come inside, 83, 84 onwards. Not only started coming down, now it is 0.
Yes.
Cyclone we can't stop, but we can stop it, gives an advance notice. So like this, there are many applications which are around disaster management, not only for us, for the world. India is already contributing. Plus also new items, new technology would need to be done.
He wants something.
Yes.
So these are the things which are there. So I don't want to extend more. So in other words, we will have some very visible ones. At the same time, we will have things which are spread out. It has gone to people which we feel people won't know.
Sure, absolutely. Every day is not going to be like today, where there is going to be a nail-biting finish that we're waiting for. We're at the edge of our seats for the last 15-20 minutes waiting for something to happen. It's not going to be an everyday affair that happens. ISRO has been working and will be working behind the scenes for a lot of things that perhaps will not make headlines, unfortunate as that may be. But that is what ISRO is going to be doing, putting India on the map, whether many of us know it or not. And that's really the beauty of how the team at ISRO has been working and will continue to work as well, as Professor Rajan was beautifully putting it. And Dr. Kesan, I want to get you in as well. You know, we talk about, like Professor Rajan was also saying, it's not a one-way street. For a long time, India has been learning from other countries, getting technology from other countries, but we have to reciprocate. This is where now India has started doing that. This entire made in India, made at a low-cost mission, that's something that seems to be the forte that ISRO is really getting into, and that opens up to a lot more, isn't it? It doesn't necessarily just stick around to ISRO. It opens it up to the private sector as well, and that's really what the next big thing is going to be as far as the space forum is going to go.
Absolutely. I really vouch for this, Poonam, because, we were looking at technology transfers from Russia, and it was all going well. And at a certain point, something happened. And, after that, we couldn't do anything. We had to be by ourselves. So this has taught a lesson, not only for this industry, but for all the industries, that we need to be self-sufficient. I think the Atmanirbhar Bharat is the right term that we have to be using here. And predominantly in this, though you say science is, a collaboration, but there is some sort of a competition everywhere. Every country would like to have an edge over the other country and want to prove that, we are the number one. That I think it is imbibed within us, as a child, that number one tag. So, we are so crazy about that, and, we want to do that. So I think, if we have to go beyond all those things, we have to be self-sufficient. And this, what best can it be, than this moment today? And we are teaching this to the future generation. We had about 200 children today who were watching the entire journey live, the landing live. And every child has, had a special moment and a special anecdote about what they felt about the whole process. So many of them are thinking of becoming space scientists. That is the future. So we have been able to ignite that within them. So this is very, very important. The ignition is very, very important.
Yes, that fire has been lit. That fire has been lit in the minds and hearts of several people, several youngsters who are now going to take inspiration from what's to come next, perhaps wanting to have a career which wouldn't have been thought of until a few years ago. And Gohar, Raza, I want to get you in on that. We've seen how people unite for, say, cricket matches or for movies and things like that. Today we had an event like this where, irrespective of the age, from the young to the old, everyone came together for one cause, for one organization, for one country and one mission. And that's really something that we haven't seen before, perhaps.
No, we have seen it whenever ISRO has achieved those high points, which Rajan was also talking about, that these events make headline. So ISRO has always been appreciated by the Indian masses, including the illiterate ones, for their achievements. I think today was a day again of celebration of science, scientists and scientific achievements that science has made throughout the history of mankind. The point that I wanted to discuss and raise here was that whenever the nation has put a major mission mode project in the hands of scientific community in India, we have achieved heights. ISRO is one example of that. Atomic energy is another one. Then DRDO has many things to its credit. So this mission mode is extremely important, probably, for science in today's world, especially after emergence of big science in the world. The other thing which is very important is that ISRO was always a cohesive organization, both vertically and horizontally.
Yes.
Vertically in terms of time I'm talking about, because the older generations of ISRO scientists passed on the vision, improved upon the older vision. They didn't give up. They didn't learn to say, no, it cannot happen, or it is not possible. So that vision of Sarabhai and those scientists who initiated the project ISRO, that vision has been improved upon over generations.
Yes.
It has not been given up. The other thing is that horizontally also, it's very closely integrated. All of them work for one mission.
Correct.
Two missions or a number of missions. These two things have seen bad moments, good moments, both in terms of collaboration also. Initially, the international organizations told us that they are not going to collaborate with us. They will not give us technologies. They will not give us even simple technologies.
Yes.
One incident I am recalled every time, that American organizations is denied.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt you there, Gohar Raza. I'll come back to you. Hold that thought though, but I would just want to get in these images that have now been tweeted out by ISRO, and these are the first images as been put out by ISRO. Let me read out the tweet that ISRO has put out now, along with these images that you see on your screens. ISRO says this is the latest update that's coming in. The communication link is established between the lander of Chandrayaan-3 and the command center here in Bengaluru. These are the images that have already been sent back by the lander Vikram to the control room here in ISRO. These are the images that were taken from the lander's horizontal velocity camera that were taken during the descent. So this is during the descent, while it was just a few meters away above the lunar surface. That is when these images were captured. They now have been sent back to the control room here in Bengaluru for further study. First images there being tweeted out by ISRO, giving us a sense of what the lunar surface looked like while Vikram carrying Pragyan was descending in that power descent. What we also are going to be showing you is the first image of the lunar surface that was taken on the south side. This is during the descent. Let's also show you what the image is of the south side of the lunar surface. Remember, this is the image that we've accessed for you exclusively here on CNN News 18 that shows the south side of the lunar surface. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is also now addressing a gathering. Let's cut across.
हम सब के लिए गौरव का दिन है। आज चंद्रयान-3 तय किए हुए समय पर, तय किए हुई जगह पर सफलता के साथ चंद्रमा की सतह पर उतरा है। मैं इस मौके पर सबसे पहले तो देश के सभी 140 करोड़ लोगों को बहुत बहुत मन से बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि आजादी के अमृतकाल में हमारे देश को अंतरिक्ष के क्षेत्र में एक बहुत बड़ी सफलता मिली है, जो हम सब के लिए गौरव का विषय है। इसके साथ अथक मेहनत और बहुत बारीकी से प्लानिंग कर चंद्रयान को सफल करने वाली टीम चंद्रयान के सभी वैज्ञानिकों और सभी इंजीनियरों को भी मैं हृदय से बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहता हूं। आज आपके प्रयास ने देश को विश्व में गौरव दिलाया है और मैं देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि स्पेस मिशन की उनकी जो कल्पना है, नई स्पेस पॉलिसी लेकर जो आए हैं, इसका बहुत शुभ आगाज आज अमृतकाल की शुरुआत में ही हुआ है। आज चंद्र की सतह पर उतरने वाला भारत चौथा देश हो गया। दक्षिण ध्रुव के ज्ञान की दृष्टि से अंधेरे क्षेत्र में पहुंचने वाला भारत पहला देश हो गया। करोड़ों सालों से चंद्रमा के दक्षिणी ध्रुव को जिस प्रकार से रहस्यों ने घेर कर रखा था, बहुत सारे रहस्यों का उद्घाटन हमारा चंद्र मिशन करेगा।
Union Home Minister Amit Shah there, like many others, congratulating the scientists at ISRO. Tributes coming in from across the country for the brilliant minds that have achieved this historic feat for the entire country. A feat that has ensured that the world's eyes are on us tonight. Actor Amit Sial now joining us here on this broadcast on this momentous occasion. Tributes pouring in. Amit Sial, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18.
Thank you.
Your first response. This was something that we were waiting for in anticipation all of today, if not before. Somebody who had absolutely perhaps no idea about how exactly space research works, how this mission has been working, even today was sitting at the edge of their seat and was wanting, hoping, praying that this is going to be a success, and what a success it's been.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely true what you just said, because I would definitely have no idea how this happens. I only know how to act. But yeah, it was a nail-biting finish, and we all have been waiting for the last 40 days for this to, take its course. And it was very smooth. It's an overwhelming experience. And I think, मतलब मुझे तो मैं तो शूट पे हूँ कहीं एक छोटे से शहर में, तो मैं ज़्यादा सेलिब्रेशन में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. बट आई होप कि जैसे हम लोग वर्ल्ड कप जीते थे, उससे कुछ 100 गुना ज्यादा खुशी होगी देश में. बहुत ही गर्व की बात है.
जी बिल्कुल, आपने वर्ल्ड कप की बात की अमित सियाल, एंड वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस थोड़ी देर पहले ऑल्सो. मूवीज हो, वर्ल्ड कप जैसे या ओलंपिक्स हो, स्पोर्टिंग इवेंट्स हो, वी सी हाउ पीपल फ्रॉम स्मॉल विलेजेस गैदर अराउंड perhaps a public place where there is a TV, want to share those moments with other people. Now we're seeing those kind of moments, that kind of excitement with events like these as well, something that perhaps we wouldn't have expected a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it shows that we as a country, we as people of this country are coming together. We are participating in whatever feats our country is achieving, and I was just seeing Mr. Prime Minister and the Home Minister's comments about and how happy they are about what we have achieved together. I think the whole point is that we should realize that when we get together, all of us as one country, we can achieve anything.
Absolutely. One last question before I let you go, Mr. Sial. I just want to ask you, we saw the kind of success rocketry the film was, the kind of inspiration that film became. Do you think we have to now move on to films like that, perhaps TV series, OTT series like that talk about perhaps ISRO's journey, what we're looking at, how we started, where we've reached, something on those lines? More of that needs to be done so that we reach the larger audience in terms of celebrating these kind of achievements?
Definitely. I think our films and our creativity needs to extend to stories like these, because these are the real heroes and they are unsung heroes. They should be sung about and celebrated about. And definitely, and there's so many of these successful stories which we are not aware of, and we must pluck them out and put them out for everybody to watch and enjoy.
Absolutely, and we do hope that perhaps you have the opportunity to do that. Many others in the industry also have the opportunity to do that, and we have the opportunity to watch that. But Amit Sial, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Remember, it is the day we are celebrating India. We're celebrating ISRO, the unsung heroes, like Amit Sial was also pointing at. They are the ones that have to be celebrated today. They are the ones that we have to talk about today. Our panelists continue to be with us here on this broadcast. But let's listen in to what the chairman of ISRO had to tell us just a short while ago.
Sir, successful landing. You said it's a beginning of a golden period. What next, sir?
See, we have to now look at it in a different way. Once we achieved a success in Chandrayaan-3, it actually opens up a lot of opportunities. We can go to further exploration of Moon because a lot of interest on Moon is there. We should send our bigger craft, bringing sample missions. Sometimes we should also think about going to Mars, land softly there. So, or other planets like Venus and others. So, it's a possibility that is opened out.
Sir, now that we've landed, the immediate question that everyone has is, when does the rover now come out? What are the parameters that ISRO would look forward or look out for?
Our rover will come out soon because we have to do a lot of checking, we have to do a lot of verification. Then only we can decide when it should come out. So we will announce maybe after all the trials are gone tonight. So the decision will be taken tonight.
So the Prime Minister has spoken to you personally and also addressed the nation. Yeah. He said he's spoken about Mars and Venus. How does ISRO now look at the priorities, sir?
See, our priority is not all of this. Our priority is to serve the nation, develop the capability in this nation in the science and technology, especially in space domain. And the space sector reform has been announced, and we are working with private companies in a big way to make this happen. But these missions are inspirational missions, no? So we must work on such missions as well. While we work on communication, remote sensing, and science missions, missions such as this will always create a lot of value in the science community, creating the manpower for it and also helping a lot of scientists.
It's onwards and upwards for ISRO and for India as far as space research is concerned, as far as all of these missions are concerned. Chandrayaan-3 is just the beginning. That's the message coming in from the ISRO chairman as well. Our panelists, Professor Rajan, Gauhar Raza and Dr. Kesan, continue to be with us. Gauhar Raza, I apologize for having interrupted you earlier. You were sharing an anecdote. If you could go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was telling that at one point of time, US refused to give us even balloon technology, and we had to create our own balloons. And today, ISRO has come to a long way where all other countries are ready and are willing and are inviting us to join in cooperation for further exploration of spaces. Now, the result is, or the conclusion can be drawn that when we work in mission mode and when we work under pressure, then we have delivered wonders, in fact. And it is almost a miracle that has happened, that we landed up our rover on the surface of the moon. The other thing that I wanted to say at this occasion is that it not only brings about the entire nation together in celebration, but it also is a breaking point. It's a breaking point because such points give an edge and establish authority of science over all other ways of looking at the world or even on our own society. So such moments are extremely important.
Yes.
One should realize that such moments do not happen every day. This has been said. But the failure that we saw last time, and we called it failure as a common person, are not failures. Because such failures have happened probably 1,000 times in developing every small thing, including a nut or a bolt probably. We have learned, ISRO has learned, and that is how science and technology progresses, by failures. You have a nut which fails, and then you develop a nut or a bolt which works. So the history of ISRO or any scientific organization can also be written in terms of failures from which we have learned. So in science, the point I'm making is there is nothing called failure. There are learning points. And two learning points, Chandrayaan-1, Chandrayaan-2, have led us to a technological advancement where we have landed up very safely, softly, like a photo finish. Exactly what we had planned was achieved. It is a big achievement. It is a big technological achievement, which will be followed by scientific achievement. Because the data will come, we'll know more about the surface of the moon. So it has an impact on the nation as well, and nation's conscience, nation's thinking and brain of the younger generation, what they think future holds for them. It is extremely important that such moments are celebrated in country. We should also be aware of those who want to hold the society backwards. We should be aware that there are forces which spread myths, superstitions, cheat people in the name of all kinds of things. And they are pretty strong in our country. There are products which are sold in the market, which I call them as superstitions. These are products which are being sold by very powerful houses, which are headed by all kinds of people who are very well respected in the society. So we should always be aware that isolated islands of science and scientific temper cannot sustain themselves. India has to have scientific temper, which is enshrined as a duty, which is enshrined in our constitution. And this particular moment is one step forward. The younger generation, probably while celebrating, is also imbibing the values of scientific temper today.
Absolutely, it is a day to celebrate. It's a day to also mark the kind of trajectory both ISRO, the country, and the young of this country are going to be taking. I request you both to stay on with us because Dr. Amitabh Ghosh also joins us on this broadcast. He was a member of NASA's Mars Exploration Rover mission. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Dr. Ghosh, here on CNN News 18. Just a few hours ago this afternoon, in fact, we did speak before the soft landing was attempted. And, all prayers, all excitement was right up there. Was it exactly the way you expected it to go when you watched it?
Well, it was, of course, amazing. It was just dawn in Washington D.C. here, so I was in my office in almost semi-darkness, and it's amazing to see this happen. I'm a little old, so in the 90s when I went to study space science in America, India did not have a planetary science program. In 2004, the Chandrayaan-1 was launched. And it's been barely 20 years, and India has orbiters on 2 planets, and Moon and Mars, and not 2 planets, but Moon and Mars, and then also the capability to land a lander and a rover. So it's been incredible. I mean, I cannot describe to you the feeling. And being a scientist, it's a little more like see, the rest of the professionals, they will move on with life. Tomorrow you will have a different program and different coverage. But the people at ISRO and people like us at NASA who work on these things, this is something you have worked on for 5 years. And so that last moments when, so you follow what is the velocity and what is your altitude. And so if it is in the right envelope, and if it is not in the right envelope, then you're in trouble. So towards the last, maybe a couple of minutes, the last minute, so there was absolute, there was absolute confidence that it will happen. So, so it is an incredible feeling. I cannot describe to you.
Dr. Ghosh, this is an accomplishment that we've achieved, that ISRO has achieved, but now it's not just going to be an end at this. Yes, we're celebrating this, but we're also excited for what's to come next for ISRO as well. We know that there's one mission, the Aditya one, which is up just next month, as confirmed by ISRO as well. But as far as this particular moon landing on the south side is concerned, the significance of this is much larger, isn't it? Because many believe that this could really be the pit stop. This side of the moon, the lunar surface, could actually be the pit stop for many other planets, perhaps like the Mars or even Venus. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree. I think this is being discussed. I don't agree. This is a view which is being... So if you go to Mars and you make a stop at the moon, the biggest cost is to land on another planet. Gravity is your worst enemy. If you land on the moon and then you go again from the moon, then it's a bad thing. So it's much cheaper to go directly to Mars. But the first part, what you said, is this is not about just Chandrayaan-3. The huge thing that happened today is that India developed the capability to soft land on another planet. So you can go again to the moon to do more things. You can go and spend 1 year, not 14 days. You can go to a different part of the moon. You can go to Mars. You can try landing in the asteroid. So it is like when you learn to say cycle, you can go anywhere with your cycle, right? So it's a new sense of freedom. It is not just about this mission, although it is very exciting. It is about this general capability and what the future will bring, with what the next 10 years will bring. So that is what is so exciting about this.
Now, one last question before I let you go. We've been talking about the future. The future is also perhaps of affordable, low-cost missions like these, and that's really something that we need to talk about. The vision with which ISRO was started, competing with technologically advanced nations, with financially advanced nations, was something that we were only perhaps wishing for, hoping for. But here we are doing these missions at 1/10, half the cost of what other countries have done so. And this really also opens up the playground for many other countries in the world as well, isn't it?
Right. So it is a fascinating development, So space has become completely democratized now. So if you think it was a game where only the superpowers could be there, and now you will see a lot of technology has become cheaper as well. So a lot of private players, lot of other countries will start, and they've already attempted, like Israel has failed. So it will attempt. But I should caution you once that this is the robotic spaceflight business. It is much less expensive. The human spaceflight business, you need launch vehicles which are 30 times as much capable of doing 30 times as much weight. But there also, private enterprise is what is coming in. Elon Musk's rockets are reusable, and that's lowering the cost of spaceflight by 99%. So right now, both in this segment of unmanned spacecraft as well as manned spaceflight, there is huge change in the economic model and huge change in the cost, which actually means if you can go to space much more cheaper, you will go there much more frequently. It will become much more affordable. The reason you don't go that often is that it is expensive.
Correct. It opens up many more doors, not just for India, but for the rest of the world as well. An inspiration nonetheless. an achievement worth celebrating, not just today, like Dr. Ghosh was also pointing out that perhaps this is something we would have forgotten by tomorrow, but we really hope not. We really hope that India continues celebrating moments like these, remembering achievements like these, and that is something that we would want to keep in mind, not just every time a mission like this comes to the fore, but the journey of ISRO will continue, and our faith in ISRO will also continue with the same passion. I thank you all panelists for joining us here on this broadcast and sharing your perspective. It is time for a quick break here on this edition, but our non-stop coverage here will continue on CNN News 18. I'll see you in just a short time. Don't go anywhere.
We have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम लैंडर मॉड्यूल
जब हम अपनी आंखों के सामने ऐसा इतिहास बनते हुए देखते हैं तो जीवन धन्य हो जाता है.
What an incredible moment this is for ISRO, for India's space scientists. All of us here at CNN News 18. Unbelievable scenes, ladies and gentlemen. India has conquered the moon.